What's your thoughts on this?
I mean, that's absolutely right. It is a simple contractual issue. Just small correction, Intercontinental are not an investor. They're
Right.
a service supplier. They offer management services to the owner of the Intercontinental. They have a dispute, which unfortunately is being splashed across the newspapers. They've got to resolve the dispute or part ways.
Right.
It is a simple issue.
Right, but give us a sense of how well the sector is likely to perform this year. We've seen a recovery from the lows of the Ebola crisis. Your thoughts on this?
We need three things. We need growth, economic growth. We need stability, and we need confidence. And last couple of years, I mean, they've been lacking, haven't they? Not just in the hospitality sector, but I think in any sector. We just 18 months ago, looking forward, we couldn't grasp onto anything very positive. I think as we start 2018, it's quite different. We do know, we believe we know where we're going now. We have economic growth again. We have confidence, we have stability. How stable that stability is, I'm not quite sure. But then look at many countries at the moment. Is it stable? We have to get used to a change. Right.
But there's been many have suggested that there's been a bit of a glut in that space, especially in the Lagos market. And as a result, the smart money should be going outside Lagos. Would you agree with that?
No, I totally disagree. I've been told about the potential of oversupply in the Lagos market for literally decades. People have been saying all these hotels under construction. The fact is that in both Lagos and Abuja, there's actually very little under construction in terms of new hotels coming into the market. Abuja, there's no new supply coming in this year. Lagos the same. There's no new supply coming in. We have low occupancies in the industry compared to 10 years ago because of the economic cycle. It is as simple as that. We do not have oversupply, and our intelligence says that we are not facing oversupply for some years.
Right. But for a new investor in this market, would you agree that looking at the smaller sized potential investments outside Lagos is the way to go? Or how will you play a new investor in this market?
There are opportunities all over Nigeria. As I said, Lagos is not oversupplied. There's still potential. Smaller hotels tend to be easier to raise the money for. Tend to be faster to develop, and there are opportunities for that. And as we've seen in our industry in Lagos and in Abuja, there are many small hotels, which actually, to some extent, have done better than the large hotels.
Right.
Now we can debate another time why that might be, but there are still opportunities there. But that doesn't mean there aren't opportunities for the larger hotels coming in. There's a new Marriott hotel, 250 rooms under construction up in Ikeja. I'm sure that will do well as and when it opens. Right. The Chelsea hotel, 160 rooms in Ikoyi, coming into the market. I mean, they are big hotels. I'm sure they'll do very well. Right. Outside of Nigeria, yeah, we have 36 state capitals. Many of them really do need modern hotels, small or large.
That's what I thought as well. I thought that the market outside the places that most investors will come to first, Lagos, Abuja, have really not been exploited. And that's why I think that perhaps people should begin to look elsewhere. But in terms of funding, I want to get your thoughts on whether or not we're likely to see a significant flow of private equity into the hospitality space in Nigeria.
It's tough. Hotels are not easy. We're a complicated industry in many respects, and to some extent high risk. But of course, high risk means high reward. There are funds available. It tends to be local equity. There's not a huge amount of cross-border equity in our industry. That's not just Africa, but worldwide. But there is debt out there for good projects, and The debt providers will very often tell you that that's the problem. It's the shortage of good projects for them to lend to. It's not impossible,
right.
nor is it easy.
Earlier on the program, we were speaking about the election cycle.
Yeah.
How does the election cycle impact hospitality from what you've seen over the years?
Yeah, this constant 4-year program of uncertainty. I was talking to some general managers recently, and their thought is that the electioneering this year will generate demand for hotel services. People travelling around, having meetings, having events will help. But then there's the uncertainty of the outcome of the election. Nobody knows what's going to happen in February next year.
Right, and that hurts the business travel, I imagine.
The vast majority of our business is from the corporate sector and from government as well. So we are very dependent on that political outcome, particularly in Abuja, where so much of the business is related to government activity. Last year we had last election time, 2015, big change. Not sure that brought change for the better in terms of the economy. Not saying there was cause and effect there, but let's see what happens in 2019. Right. But just going back to what I said before, we need growth, we need confidence, and we need stability.
Right, and we know this government has been trying to, should I say, diversify the revenues streams of the economy, and tourism has been mentioned, but obviously has not been one that we've seen a major spotlight on. Would you say we've seen any major moves forward that could support the hospitality sector over the last 4 years?
Not in direct terms, no. To some extent, we want government to be hands-off. We don't necessarily need government direct help. What we need is government to give us the enabling environment. Right. And we need growth. And we need growth in a diversified economy. You mentioned diversification. An increase in the price of oil doesn't generate more hotel demand directly. What we need is a diversified economy. And Lagos State, to a large extent, is a diversified economy. Sure. Unlike, for example, Port Harcourt, which just has one industry, the oil industry, and the hotel industry there has suffered considerably because of the downturn in the oil industry. And an upturn in the oil industry isn't never necessarily going to help Port Harcourt. They need other industries as well. There's a direct correlation between GDP growth in a diversified economy and hotel demand.